You're working 90 hours a week and people are going, man, you're dedicated, you're amazing. Like, how do you do it? And, you can have the right what with the wrong why. And the wrong why is what will create an unsustainable how. You now have success and you have secrets. I'd give all this success away to have them.
And it's not bad to be driven or have ambition. These are beautiful things that are gifts to ourselves and the world, but they're not meant to be something that kills us.
That is a healed hustle.
Welcome to the Worth Beyond Wealth podcast,
where net worth meets personal worth. I'm Shannon.
I'm Ryan. We help families navigate the emotional, relational, and personal realities that money alone can't solve.
If you've built wealth but still wonder what it all means or how to keep your family grounded while protecting your legacy, you're in the right place.
We sit down with experts and with you to talk identity, purpose, and connection beyond the balance sheet.
Because true wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in the impact we make and the relationships we nurture.
So grab a seat,
take a breath,
and let's redefine what it means
to be truly wealthy together.
This is the Worth Beyond Wealth podcast. I'm excited to have another episode here of the Worth Beyond Wealth podcast. We have a friend of ours today, Adam Cruz.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because Adam's working on some things that line up really well with the ideas and philosophies that we're really talking a lot about in the Worth Beyond Wealth podcast, even the underlying idea of what is wealth, what is real wealth. And then we've introduced on some former sessions podcasts the project we're calling LifeRaft. And that's really where Adam and I met. We just had this aha.
I thought you met over breakfast burritos.
We did, but it was then the connection was, hey, what you're working on and what I'm working on really there's a lot of synergy here. Yeah. And so just a quick intro for Adam. He spent 20 years in product design. His work drives more than $115 million in annual revenue at companies such as Intuit and ZeeMee. Adam, along the way, you've had a journey. He is happy to share this part of his life, but his nonstop hustle almost ended his marriage. He did a lot of soul work after that, and through that is where you really arrived at this idea of the healed hustle. So you have a business called the Healed Hustle. You take executives and entrepreneurs through an 8-step plan that helps achievers keep their drive without losing their family or their health.
Yeah.
So Adam, with that, tell us more about yourself and what you want to add about
me. Yep. I'm excited to have this conversation with you guys and with your audience, and it's been a journey, and it was cool just to see how God was bringing us together and the overlap in our journeys and our story and what we're really trying to figure out ourselves.
I love that point.
Yeah.
I think we should drive that home. We are not unique in this space, right? We don't have all fear.
Yeah.
We're just being real and vulnerable.
Yeah.
And hopefully in a humble space.
Yeah. Always learning, kind of a natural curious person. That's a lot of my background has just been a natural curiosity of things. And so here I am being curious about my own life and my own family and business and all of it in a new light. So happy to be with you guys.
So take us on the journey. Were you always a striver? Were you always a driver?
Yeah.
And then, where did that lead you?
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a scrappy entrepreneur in that I've, for a decade of my life was spent in ministry and right. As a pastor, and as anybody that's been in that world knows that you have no money and you are, and we were also started from scratch. And so it's like you're building something from nothing. And I enjoy that process of taking an idea to something. And so, this started back in high school and starting little businesses and bands and things I did as a musician and traveling. And And then, catching a vision for building a community, a faith community. Um, and, it worked until it didn't, but we grew from 0 to 2000 in a couple of years. And, you learn a lot just through the process of building. And, but I've always just had a desire to make ideas real. And so I think that again, that curiosity was a perfect fit for startup life. And so I've been a part of a few startups and started in the church world.
So over a couple of years, was that your first taste that what you thought of as success could actually be the worst outcome?
Yeah.
Because by all outward
Yeah.
appearance, going from 0 to 2,000 people in a church in 2 years
Yeah.
was
That's
highly successful.
exponential growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember being featured in Outreach Magazine as top 100 fastest growing churches in America and going, nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows, like,
Because the
man.
metrics that they were using, oh, this is
Yeah.
incredible. This is so successful. This is great. You must be doing so well.
Yeah.
But inside, how are you doing?
Yeah. And I think it is, and it's not the church's fault. It wasn't, it's not the business's fault. It was, you go through a journey in healing where you unpack a lot and you kind of look for blame and look for things to kind of target.
100%. Do.
You can have the right what with the wrong why, and the wrong why is what will create an unsustainable how. And so that's what kills most of us. Is the what was good.
Absolutely.
To start a church and build a church.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Faith community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my why was unhealed.
But your why. Okay.
And the why is what was unsustainable. It creates a how that becomes unsustainable. How being the very practical rhythms and operations and
Sure.
what it takes to do something at scale.
Do the what.
Yeah.
And in that time frame.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you say in that journey, and what was the why? Because it started out probably really
Yeah.
beautifully intentioned, but then what do you think happened, or what
Yeah.
maybe
I had no language for this
You-
till I was in my late 30s and started my healing process. But in the big, for, I guess at a snapshot, building a church for 10 years and then building a tech company for the last 6 years and then joining Intuit.
Yeah.
My journey at Intuit was in a healthier state, but the startups we built were similar in nature in that you're striving for this thing to work. You're willing to do whatever it takes. And I think mission driven, if you're a mission driven person, it's even harder.
Sure.
Because mission driven people live for the mission, and the mission, the mission, if we're not careful, the mission becomes a mistake.
Wow.
And when the mission becomes a mistake, you've lost. But when it's working, you just do whatever it takes to make the mission work. And you call that like grit or resilience, or I have what it takes.
We applaud it.
We
In
applaud
our
it.
society.
We do. We reward this.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. You're working 90 hours a week and people were going, man, you're dedicated. You're amazing. Like, how do you do it? And, and obviously this is not about me. I had a whole team and we had a great amount of people. But even in that, it's like some stayed healthy through it all and some didn't. So why did some stay healthy and I suffered in the journey? And it was because, for me, years later, unpacking, man, my why was to prove that I was lovable, that I was enough. And I had no language for that. When you're building something at 28, 32, 34 years old, you're just grinding. I've got what it takes. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this work. Mm-hmm. And then you have success. And so then you just think this is how you, like, if you're successful, it's like, this is what you just have to keep doing.
Right.
This is the cost of success.
This is just the way it is.
This is the way it is.
Right.
And your reward was people patting you on the back saying,
oh yeah.
And
that's amazing.
Okay, I am lovable. Yeah. I am enough.
Well, for me, exactly right.
This is feeding that need, this deep need that I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to a point, as a pastor, worship pastor, standing on stage, I would anticipate the thumbs up from an
Wow.
executive.
Oh, wow.
Like it got to a point where it's so toxic. You're just looking for applause. You're looking for affirmation because
Yeah.
I'm using this vehicle to be the vehicle that validates that I'm good. Because in my core identity, I was like, I'm bad. God made me bad. I had two situations in my childhood that came up later. One was an authority figure when I was a child hit me in my face as a lesson because I was being a punk and I was not being nice. And so it was like a sort of,
Or you might have deserved it.
yeah, I might have deserved it. It was not a shame thing from them, but or towards them, but
No.
but it was influential
Internalized.
because internalized, like
I really am
there's
wrong.
an authority figure telling me as a young person that that I'm bad, and I took that as I'm bad. Ironically enough, about I don't know 6-7 years later, maybe even a little bit longer, I was in high school and had a youth pastor hit me in my face.
Wow.
As because he didn't like the music I was listening to or something, which was Christian punk rock. So kind of weird now to think about it. Kind of laugh about that now, but
Yeah.
at the time it was just a certain time and situation. But two authority figures kind of like hit me in my face in front of
I was going to ask, was this in front of people?
in front of the whole youth group on a bus on a youth trip.
Okay.
And so it's just like it ingrained in me this, okay, like I will always have what it takes then. I will just always do what is asked and what makes me good because I'm bad. So you compensate that. So anyways, you don't know all that when you're getting into doing what we're all doing and building and stuff. It's like you start building, you grind and you have success. And then you wake up and go, this isn't working, and I didn't have language for any of that for years. But
So
You remember?
Oh, no, sorry. So that's a good segue into this next question about what was that turning point or the aha moment where you realized the work pace that I am currently holding is not sustainable. What was that moment? What was that like when you realized it's hurting me?
yeah.
And not just you, your family.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for me, and this is just, I don't know if this is anybody else's journey. It was my journey. I wake up every day and I read similar journeys. So I bear to think this is not just me, but my journey was my desire to prove that I was lovable created a work ethic that was driven. I was driven, I was motivated, and it worked. It created success. The problem is I couldn't sustain the habits that it required to work that hard, that intense. So you have to relieve. You have to numb.
Right.
Well, there's only a few ways you numb.
Right.
For a lot of people, it's a series of things. It's drugs, it's alcohol, it's pornography. These are the things we don't talk about in business because they're private and they're secrets. And that's exactly what creates the havoc that comes downstream is you now have success and you have secrets. Yeah. And now you can't tell anybody. So because if anybody knew, I'm going to lose the success I have. I'm going to lose the platform I have. And so we convince ourselves as driven people that we can manage it and we have what it takes because we've managed it this whole time and we've built what we've built.
It's fine. I can do it.
I can do it. I manage
I'll handle
this.
it. I'll handle
I can
it.
manage this. So you lie to yourself, you deceive yourself. And for me, the addictions eventually led to things that, decisions that were ruining my marriage and my relationship with my family.
Right.
And eventually lead to the point where I had done some things that I wasn't proud of and literally said, I will be 60 and still this way if I don't change. But I had no language, no idea even what to do. I didn't have like a plan.
No.
It was just like, I can keep doing this and it will end here. And it'll actually probably end worse than what I think it'll end.
So it was, you knew there was this intuition. There was this, I know this is going to kill me.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
If I do not stop this train.
Yeah. And you have a spouse that is like, this isn't working. And I don't know how long I can
I can sustain.
sustain. And so you can keep having your super success over here. I'm going to leave.
Right.
And change needs to happen. And
Sure.
we made the, sad decision to resign and the next things kind of took on a life of their own, and we built new things, but I had to clear the stage, and it was the scariest.
Without a plan for the next things, right?
No plan for the next things.
Which that would have been for you because you were a doer and a planner and an achiever. What do you mean you're letting it all go and there's no plan?
Yeah, because your identity is shaken. I remember a night just laying in my, I had a detached garage with a recording studio in it. I remember laying in there and just lost, who am I? Like without this 10-year career I built, this path I was on to plant more churches, to be in ministry, to do all this stuff. Who am I outside of any of that? And I can go apply for a bunch more jobs like that, but that's not at all what it's supposed to do. And so it was a very it was down to my core. Who am I without success?
Yes.
In the lens that I'm looking at success through, whether it's wealth or whether it's just success in the entity that I'm building.
Right.
Right. Without it, who am I? And it's terrifying.
And so, Adam, you move. I mean, I think it's important to double click on this idea. I mean, you took a big, bold step because you saw a need to change. Like, we're on a devastating path.
Yeah.
We're going to make a change. I mean, I think that's important for people to hear, that sometimes they're hard decisions have to be made. From that point, then you didn't know what was next, but you got a call. You went to California for a tech startup.
Yeah.
And did the cycle continue, or did it immediately get like, hey, I've learned now? And
yeah. It's a good question. And it's a weird one to talk about because it's, my friend called me out of the blue. A whole side story to how that even happened that's pretty remarkable. But regardless, got a phone call. We decided to go into business together, start this company. And it was like not my wheelhouse. And so it's like my curiosity again is like, if I can build this, I can build this. So let's build it, And so we I'm in. And so we sold our house on Facebook in 2 days, moved to Boise, Idaho.
Stop it.
And I lived off my savings. I said, I'll give you 1 year. And we built, ZeeMee into what it is today. And obviously I haven't been a part of it the last few years, but raised a seed round and Series A and all that. But what was interesting is like, I didn't have any language for what I had just come out of. I knew my marriage was about, when it was weird there was two things happening, which is probably most of us in life, is like two things are happening at the same time, good things and terrible things.
Yes.
While my wife and I are wondering if we should stay married and even continue, we're also like leaning into this new idea. We moved to Boise just as a place to land and heal. And I didn't have language for any of our life at that time, just knowing that our marriage was about to end. And I was about to lose everything that mattered. We had a 1-year-old, and whatever this new venture was going to become, I did not want to do it the same way. The problem is that there was a lot I had not unpacked with, that Amber and I had not yet healed from.
Absolutely.
So we went into that season over the last 5 years or the next 5 years of that journey, pretty cautious and just intentional and trying to protect some things. But it was interesting because I'm walking into, so we only stayed here in Boise for about a year and then moved to San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
And built the company out in San Francisco for a few years. And I mean, you're walking into the epicenter of this, of what I just came out of, which is growth, build, success, wealth, drive. And it was hard because it was like there's so much tension with what I had walked out of and didn't want to continue to fester. And yet I'm in a startup again, building from scratch.
90-hour weeks.
A lot, but different. It is a little bit of a different cadence, but 3 a.m. meetings.
Jeez.
just because of East Coast, West Coast time zones, and
Exactly.
just trying to move things forward. And found myself, Amber and I found ourselves yet again just unsustainable in the direction that the company was going, and some of the leadership. And not to talk ill about some of my partners, but just all of us trying to figure this out. How do you build something?
Right.
How do you build something mission driven from scratch? Hustle, build, and grind,
Right.
and it works. You raise a $6 million Series A, you raise a Series B, it's working. You've got 100,000 users. Like,
Right.
this is just the cost of what it takes to build. So you just do it. And if you want to tour.
So you said something that was interesting, and we talk about it in LifeRaft, but you said what mattered most.
Yeah.
And it was my wife, and I had a 1-year-old child. And so this is what matters most. Do you think that your actions, your lifestyle, your work pace, everything else?
Oh, not at all. In the beginning, especially, I would say that that's what mattered most.
Yep.
But my lifestyle, my passion, was for this to work.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, this just has to work. And
Yeah. For me to be okay. For me to
Yeah.
have the identity. Yeah.
And probably, I think what we see also is that we tell ourselves, and it may be true, I'm doing it for them.
Yeah.
Like, it's
yeah.
there's going to be
Providing.
this result, and then everything will be okay. So I think that's also,
I would get frustrated because I would think my wife wasn't on board with what it took to build.
You don't appreciate what I'm doing for our
Greatness.
family, or
Yeah.
yeah.
You're looking at greatness here.
Bro, you just raised $5 million.
Yeah. And she's got, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I think, and if she were here, we could ask her, but I would venture to say, if you had just flat out said, well, what matters most to you, that this or this, she'd say, I chose you.
Yeah.
I still choose you.
Yeah.
I don't care about the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to interject maybe some LifeRaft language,
Yeah.
we've talked about a little bit, but it's what you're saying is, I'm saying my family, and you believe it, is the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
But all of my actions, all of my time, all of my energy, everything about me, my identity is invested in this other thing.
Yeah.
And that's the inconsistency that we
Yeah.
often see, which creates drift in relationship. And I
Yeah.
think that's what you were experiencing.
Because we would say, do you have mission and purpose together? Are you dreaming together? Are you visioning together? And at that point, no.
It's so good what you're saying, because I just think back, like, the life vision becomes the thing I'm building. It's the only thing that matters. It's like, and I think when you look at just life in general, we are not one thing.
No.
I am not one thing. I mean, even in just like a successful life is not just finances. It's your health, and it's your family, and it's your fun. And like, I mean, there's the 5 F's.
Relationship
Yeah,
with your friends. Yeah.
Creativity.
Yeah. So we're like multidimensional humans.
Absolutely.
But for whatever reason, entrepreneurs do not think that way. They think they don't have language for that. I didn't have language for it, but it's like, I just live one dimensional. This is the only thing that matters.
That's really powerful.
And because my identity is tied to it, like, who I am is wrapped up into it. Until you can like kind of start to disconnect that, why would I live for anything else? Because success is only found in, like, I think we're all, what is Strength to Strength? I think we both read that book. They talk about, like, we're all in pursuit of money, power, honor, and title. And so it's like, as long as those are in the driving seat, like, then that's what matters. And so for me, it was, I didn't have a vision. And my wife often felt that. I mean, that's exactly how she's like, I had a counselor tell me, like, you have no reserves for your family. And she's like, and he was like, what would it feel like to give, less energy, like 75% of you at your job,
and have 25 for your wife?
What would it look like to give 65%? What comes up? What do you start to feel? And it's like
angst.
yeah, it's like, I'm not enough.
Wow.
I'm not, I don't have what it takes to be successful or whatever. So it just starts to bring up things when you start to allow yourself to kind of think about that.
And so, I mean, I think a couple things. One, a story was told recently. They called it the J curve fallacy. So I don't know how well we can get this to show up. So we've got an equilibrium, and we're going. Look, Amber, it's just going to take being below equilibrium for a while, and then we're going to get out of it, and then things are going to be good.
Yes.
But what happens is, as we walk along this path, the next, hey, Adam, you know what? We need to introduce a new feature. Okay, hey, Amber, I just need, look, it's only a few more months, but okay, but now we start a new J curve, and then we start a new one, right? And this, so it's the fallacy, because this never happens, right? It never becomes as great as it was supposed to become.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just one thing after the other. Even when there's like, I mean, we've seen situations, it's the sale comes, the exit comes. Wait a second, $30 million or whatever the number is, that didn't change my life. I don't know who I am the day after the sale.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm laying in the garage. Now yours wasn't after an exit, but and so this was your journey to that point.
Yeah.
At some point you got healing, but you also throughout time have continued to see this pattern.
Yeah.
Right. Is that?
Yeah.
So you, I mean, you said you're reading about these stories.
Yeah.
You're reading about people hitting the wall.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about some of that?
Yeah. How would you take that now and say, what does success mean to me now? And what would I warn against for you so that you're not the next story that I read in the morning?
So I went through this weird phase when we moved. We started ZeeMee. We're building this tech company. And then I joined a startup here in Boise called T-Sheets. We got acquired by Intuit and spent the last 7 years into it. But I remember a lot of nights over the last 10 years sitting in the hot tub going, ambition, I just need to let go of ambition, which is the scariest thing for a type 3. I'm an Enneagram 3, and which is all about achievement, wired for achievement. In fact, I didn't think I was an Enneagram 3, so I took the test 3 times. And it was like Enneagram 3. And I was like, what is an Enneagram 3? And everybody's talking about Enneagram.
So it's so interesting. I'm going to throw you under the bus. It was so, when we don't realize, and I'm included in this too, but we don't realize how we're wired and we don't see it.
Yeah.
And then somebody points it out, or you take a personality assessment or some sort of a screening, and you go, no. The day that we were with some friends, and you're like, no, I'm not. So are you serious right now? No, I'm so not type A. And I my friend, hey, guess what? He doesn't think he's a type A. And she started laughing out loud. Like, you have to be kidding me. But I think that's a really good point is
you're just living. I don't know.
I don't know.
Type anything.
I'm not type anything. This is just what I do.
This is driven. I want to build things. And
it's not bad to be driven or have ambition. These are beautiful things that are gifts to ourselves and the world, but they're not meant to be something that kills us.
That's so well said, Shannon, because I think that's the mystery I started to lean into is like, okay, I'm an Enneagram 3. I can't do anything about that. I'm wired to achieve. I want to build things.
That's it.
So on this like swing the other way, I was like, well, then just let go of ambition. Ambition's bad. And I just have to figure out how to enjoy my life outside of this. Well, that just creates depression because you're just, now it's like, well, now I'm not living out of that. So I used to think about ambition like a spectrum. And it's on one end of the spectrum is sustainability. And on the other end of the spectrum is ambition. And you get to pick. Do I want to be ambitious or do I want to be sustainable? And it would drive me nuts because it was like, you can't have one or the other. And I started.
You believed that.
I believed that.
Okay.
So I started to unpack a different view of this. And it was 4 quadrants, a 2x2. And the 2x2 was on the left side was sustainability or ambition. And on the I don't remember my axis is on the bottom, it was ambition. So in the bottom left quadrant, I started to look at what does it look like to have low ambition and low sustainability, and that just looked um, like directionless. It's just like sort of uh, not clear on where you're going. On the high degree of sustainability and the low degree of ambition is just comfort. You know, you're pursuing comfort. Most of us that are probably listening to this podcast and they're in this room are in the upper left quadrant, which is a high degree of ambition and a low degree of sustainability, which is where most of us live.
It's a recipe for
What do you call that?
I call it, a recipe for burnout.
Is that what you call it?
Unregulated ambition.
Unregulated.
I call it unregulated
Okay.
ambition.
Okay. I call
So
it.
then I was like, is there a world where what is the fourth quadrant? What is a high degree of ambition and a high degree of sustainability?
Love it.
And that's where I started to go, that is a healed hustle. And the reason that a healed hustle, I didn't eliminate the word hustle, is because it's like, to talk to anybody that's driven, you cannot eliminate that. And it's important to understand that we are wired and designed to make and do. But what does it look like to do out of a place of an intentionality in sustainability? So how I want to help leaders launch and last. So that's what became the kind of essence for my journey. And again, this only came because I started, one, it started with confession. And that was the scariest. That's probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Really?
Is to admit this isn't working. I don't have what it takes.
To yourself?
Starts with myself.
Okay.
Which then allows me the permission to go to my wife and say, most of us, it's actually more tragic than that. Actually, most of us, like, we have an affair, we have a drug overdose, we have an alcoholic situation, something happens, because most of us don't change until there's enough pain.
Yeah.
When there's enough pain, we'll change. So I would say that I had enough pain. I mean, my marriage was falling apart.
Yeah.
I couldn't sustain the hustle, the requirement of building these things in the way that I was doing it. And so I wanted to understand that. And it's just started, honestly, with just admitting that I didn't have what it took to do this, which then allowed me to confess to my wife things I had never confessed to her, which took us on a long healing journey of just taking inventory.
Wow.
You know, like, where are we right now? Are we okay?
We ask that question a lot on our book. That's the question that families ask all the time. Are we going to be okay? So I think that is really important to pause and just, right, and to say to anybody listening, it's okay to ask that question.
Yeah. Terrifying, but it's okay.
So scary, but it's, I think, also very freeing.
Yeah.
Giving permission to not be okay.
Yeah. It's interesting because the first time I had confessed some things I had never confessed to anybody, the power of the addictions broke. It was all gone. The thing that I thought I would be 60 and never overcoming had no weight and no power.
There was light that was shed on the
Yeah.
darkness. Yeah.
And I think it's the scariest thing for a lot of us, because we're just driving. You're just building. I don't have time to deal with this. I'm just driving. But you have to numb the pace and the unsustainability. And we choose our habits of numbing, which is interesting because we a lot of times focus on the behavior, which is the wrong thing to focus on. It's like, it doesn't matter about how you numb. Those things have consequences, unfortunately, serious ones.
Right.
But it's not even about the behavior. It's about why. And that's what I started to realize, like, no, there's something deeper in me that's driving this insane need to be validated and enough and have what it takes.
Because pain is something that is actually very useful.
Yeah.
Talk about, because my background is in healthcare. And so, as a nurse, what is your pain? Because the pain, although very unpleasant, is really helpful because it lets us know where,
Wow.
what, how much, and then so why? And then the next question, how do we address it?
Yeah.
What's at the core of the pain? Because we need to fix that.
Yeah.
I can give you something to numb it. That's not curative.
Yeah. Right.
So you're talking about okay, if we take away and we peel back that numbing agent, whatever it happens to be that we've chosen to self-medicate with, now we have to address there's pain, and now I have to deal with why.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you were.
Yeah. And so as I started to kind of look at, like, you know, through the help of a lot of people in my life, just being honest, I pulled counselors into my life. I
Yes.
pulled coaches into my life. I pulled other people that I had seen be successful and sustaining. I was like, what are they doing? I
Teach
started
me.
to study, like,
Yeah.
not every CEO that runs a multi-million-dollar company is going to fall in a tragic way.
Were they living in the fourth quadrant?
Yes. And so you're just like, what is the fourth quadrant?
But what is it?
What,
Yeah.
how, what is the how, and what have they learned? And, you know, by no means do I understand it all or have it perfected, but my journey led me through first being honest about where I was and having that confession. And then that led me to, uh, honestly, just, naming the lies that were driving me. How do I name the lies that are driving my ambition?
Wow.
And that becomes the work. And that's probably the hardest. And, you know, I don't know. It's weird because I'm not a counselor. I don't know how to pretend to be a counselor, but it's like, this is like for business people and driven entrepreneurs, we just don't let ourselves go into these like parts of our life because I just don't have the time. They don't feel important right now because this is the only thing that matters.
And they're not comfortable.
And it's extremely humiliating, you know, to some degree. It's like, okay, like this is what's driving me. But to name the lies and realize like, no, my ambition is actually to put language to it. It's like, my ambition is to prove that I have what it takes. That is my ambition. My ambition is to, you know, for some, I heard a girl one time talk about, I'm writing a book to prove to my dad that he was wrong about me. I'm like, what a burden to write a book.
What a burden.
Yeah.
You know, like that ambition.
Joy.
There's a recent book that talks about the pain that entrepreneurs experience is often, so whether that started in childhood or whatever, it could be, I have to prove to my dad. It could be, I have to prove to this boss or
to a mentor,
you know,
like you.
they said I couldn't do it, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that is what animates so many entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And of course, you're saying that was animating you, and then you're seeing it over and over and over. So I don't know if there's anything that sticks out. I do remember a story you told about a gentleman you ran into in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I don't know if that perfectly relates here, but if it does,
yeah, I can share that story. We were just starting ZeeMee. We had just raised our $6 million Series A. We were, you know, excited about the opportunity to build this thing and make it real. And we were scaling our team. And so we all moved out to the Bay Area. There were five or six of us actually moved out to the Bay Area. And as one of our first places we stopped, we went to this coffee shop in Menlo Park and ran into this gentleman in his, you know, late 60s and was a very successful individual and had, I think, 4 or 5 exits and multimillionaire. And I was just like, hey, we're 32, you know, 34, we're just getting started. What advice do you have? And he just said, Adam, just enjoy the journey. And I was like, you know, what does that mean? You know, enjoy the journey. He said, well, I'm on my 4th marriage and my kids all hate me. And he said, I'd give all this success away to have them. And I distinctively remember saying to him, you should write a book because I'm on the hunt for that book. At that time in my life, I was coming out of an ending marriage and my detrimental end of that season. And I was like, where's that book? Because all the books that are available are how to 10x your sales team and 10x your efficiencies and 10x this and 10x that. And it was just growth at all costs. Nobody's writing your story. And he looked at me and he said, nobody would read that book.
Wow.
And I just remember feeling sad.
You know, it's interesting. I don't think he's wrong, but it's interesting is once you hit the inevitable wall, everybody wants to read that book.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think what you're trying to do is prevent them from hitting the wall in the first place.
Yeah.
How do I help you not smash your face into a brick wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have to look very far. It happens all around us, and we think we're immune. We think we're like, that would be my story. Like,
It's so easy
yeah.
for it to be our story.
It's a couple decisions away from being your story.
So Adam, maybe the answer to this is in the continuation of just telling the process that you developed. But
Yeah.
when you compare the experience of those CEOs, leaders, pastors, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
those people that are thriving with ambition and sustainability, what choices have they made? What have they? Is it more intuitive to them to say, look, wealth is beyond money; it's beyond power and achievement and ego? Have they just gotten that? Did they get lucky, or are there some common, things that animate them versus animate those who we're seeing run into challenge?
So are you saying, are you saying that is it that wealth isn't just money for them? Or are there other things that mean wealth to them?
Yes, because I think what happens is so often, we chase wealth, right? And that's okay.
Yeah.
Wealth is good, but after a certain point, it doesn't satisfy any longer, right? And so then it becomes just a number.
Yeah.
Okay, so at some point,
And we've talked about that when it's being used as a tool that is healthy and good and purposeful, blessing your life, blessing those around you. That's great, right?
Yep.
There's a governor on that engine.
Yep.
Mhm.
But when it's no longer a tool that is serving and it has become the thing,
Yep.
that's when we say that's the warning light. Would you echo that?
yeah, I guess the nature of my question is, did some people get lucky?
Yeah.
And they just
Figured it out.
are okay, or have they, processed a little better than some of us who just wake up and say, I don't know, I'm not type A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just walked into wealth. I don't know, man. I just got rich. I don't know. I think that when I study some of these people that have done it well, and when I look at all the stories of those that have collapsed, there's some interesting themes you start to see. For those that do it well.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Are you seeing the stories in biographies? You say you wake up and you read it. Is it in magazines? Is it in?
Well, the
Yeah, like-
devastating story is the headline.
Okay.
It's
The,
the
you know,
headline.
obviously I walked through a story here in Boise, local to us, that was the loss of a leader and a tragic ending. And then in the news, you wake up, and I follow leaders and follow people, and then they don't last.
Mhm.
And it was like, why can't leaders last? Why do leaders fall?
So you saw two patterns.
Yeah.
Those who were in the fourth quadrant and those who were in was it the first?
Yeah, I don't know what, and you put a number to them, but the top left and the top right. Top
Okay.
left being, a low degree of sustainability and a high degree of ambition.
We're not going to get people to not have ambition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nor should we.
Yeah.
No, that's not that.
That's right.
That's not the opposite.
not the opposite.
But what did you
And in the same light, we're not asking in LifeRaft
Yeah.
for the entrepreneur to say, I'm going to stop growing
No.
Yes.
so that I can come back and build relationship better. We're saying, how do we raise up that spouse who hasn't been involved in
We're invited.
this thing or invited?
What is required to do that?
Yes. And that's what we
Yeah.
start to talk about. But I'm super curious. What did you see? I need to know.
Well, I would imagine it. I wonder if it's the same in what you're seeing
It might be.
with the spouse is there's a high degree of intentionality.
Yes.
In the successful.
It requires, I'm going to be intentional in these areas. And those that don't
Absolutely.
have no intentionality, which is ironic because in their business, there's a high degree of intentionality. It's just not,
That's exactly
it's not manifest in the life. It's, we do a SWOT analysis on whether our SWOT analysis is working in our business. we will
And then you Venn diagram it.
and then we are over intentional about what efficiencies are working and not working, and we kill them.
Yep.
We kill the things that aren't working. We take inventory. We It's funny because a lot of what I built, even in the steps of the Healed Hustle, is like what you do to turn a business around. When a business is failing, you audit, you take inventory, you name the things that are not working, you put language to it, you build plans and intentionality about what we're going to do to turn and reframe that.
Yes.
And we're going to redefine what success is. And then we're going to build the systems and habits that actually will turn that thing around, and then you turn the company around.
Okay.
But we won't do that in our life. And
So you asked the question, what I think that's exactly it, is the family, the most important thing in the world, is that thing where we often lack intentionality. And that is the missing ingredient.
yeah.
We have mission and purpose in our business. We have cadence of communication.
Yes.
We have regular meetings, offsites. We think and read about business. And then we have, in our case, we're saying we transfer key pieces of information in case
To the
one
team.
of us is gone, right?
Yeah.
So that there's sustainability. There's that word.
Yeah.
And we do all of that with discipline and intention. And then we say our family is the most important thing in the world, and yet we have none of those. And that is the idea of the system we're trying to bring, is really summed up in a word: bring intentionality to your family in the same way that we bring it to our businesses.
And the consequence of that is usually just that we assume that they will understand their family.
Yeah.
We just assume they will always be there,
Yep.
and they will always understand.
And by understand, maybe another word for that is there's a high degree of forgiveness.
Yeah.
They'll just take it.
They'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're safe. They'll take it.
Yeah.
It's okay. And I think we do that. In some ways, it's like this weird compliment, right? I trust you. You're safe, but I also am not recognizing or admitting that I'm hurting you over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's not sustainable for you.
Yeah. Well, and we find we have this exercise we take guys through where we call it the circles of connection. And don't claim to be like a relationships expert, but what I'm trying to do is look at like there are spheres in our life, and it starts with our inner circle and our kids, and I call that like our intimate community, and then we have the outer circles, which start to be our peers and our network and all of that, and those become our transactional community. Everything's transactional at that point because it's like I'll give and receive.
Right.
What's ironic in our journey is I don't walk through the door very many times, and my intimate community goes, "Oh my gosh, Adam Cruz, founder of ZeeMee and leader of a church plant, blah blah blah, is here and has arrived."
No.
Nope. And that doesn't fool you. In fact, they go, "Hey, the dishes need done," and it's like,
Well, it's funny.
Oh, I love it.
Last year, I got to be in a conference where David Sinclair spoke, and David Sinclair is working on the science behind longevity, and he was telling us
wow.
that they had cured blindness in mice. And he said the day that we did that, yeah, I was really excited, and I went home and I announced that to my family, and he said, I was greeted with, "That's great. Here's the trash that needs to go out to the curb." So to your point, like, and he was named by, I believe, Time as one of the 100 most influential people in the world, and he has to take out the trash.
Wow.
Right. And so,
Wow.
now talk about all the applause, all the,
Yes.
and that is something we all want, identity, and we all like the pats on the back. So we have to learn to navigate this.
We prefer to spend more of our time in that
I'm gonna
transactional
ask. That's where.
circle
That's what you're
than
saying.
the intimate
Okay.
community. And this is because when our ambition isn't healed, our ambition is driven by what the transactional community gives us.
The dopamine hits are
The
coming
dopamine
from the
hits, they
transaction.
validate the identity. I need to feel, okay, so my ambition is driven to feel valuable and loved and that I'm enough. Who does that to me the
The
most?
transactional.
The transactional people, the people that are like, Adam has arrived, he's in the room. My wife, who reminds me
Is
that
it
I forgot to take the
often they want something, right?
That was
Yes.
because it's transactional. don't forget, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting, but it's because they want something.
And then if we're not careful, we actually start to turn that into our intimate.
Sure.
So we actually start to prefer, I'd rather spend more time outside of the office. I'd rather,
So then, and you've read Strength to Strength.
Yeah.
We think that's a great resource for people by Arthur Brooks.
Yeah.
He talks about the problem that people have when they retire is they realize they had deal friends,
Yes,
not
man.
real friends.
That's so good.
And now they're lonely. So not only am I not getting the dopamine hit, I don't even have friends, because if I'm not talking to them about business, we have nothing in common.
Yeah.
And now we have a different crisis, right?
And so that was actually what I was going to say is the second thing that I saw in people that succeed versus fail is, so there's the intentionality piece.
Okay.
Those that often fall is an extreme word. Not everybody falls, but those that lose, they just start to lose in life and lose what matters most, is they actually start to become very isolated. You start to see people, and this is when addictions can become dangerous, because you have addictions, you're super successful, you have authority and influence, and now you have to be private, and now you isolate, and then you remove all the people that are going to hold you accountable. You get them out of your way because I cannot be honest. And what happens is you become isolated, and those people, that is a recipe for an unsustainable ambition, which is just like an isolated, numbing out, chaotic pace. You aren't going to last. And those that do last, they're honest with a few people. They have, not everybody, but there's a few people in their life that they know everything about their life. They know their secret ambition and their desire that they're fighting through. We all have these lies that we're trying to work through. And but you have people in your life that know those things, and they're not impressed by you anymore. You can be honest with them. And then you're intentional, and you have that intentionality with the things that matter most. And that's when you start to see people that can handle ambition and be sustainable.
So relationship and intention, those are the two things that you would say?
That's what I see a lot in common is just the intentionality
Versus isolation.
And honestly, the intentionality is even in relationship. It's really an intentionality. It's what you were talking about with business and how we the right pieces are all in place, and we obsess over those details. We do that in our family. I started making it a goal of, I'm going to have one conversation with a friend a week. I went years. I'd go months. I spent years going months without like having a lunch with a friend,
because you were so busy.
You're just busy.
Busy.
You know, that gets applauded. It gets applauded. It gets praised. It gets rewarded. Here's more money for your busyness.
We wear busyness like a badge of honor.
Badge of honor. That's exactly right.
So what, on the opposite side of that coin, what do you think it looks like when you start to rest?
Yeah.
Uncomfortable?
Yeah, I did all nine of these things, but I have this exercise with, I call stop with intention, or pause with purpose, stop with intention. And to pause with purpose means, what are my options? What does it actually mean to like pause? For some, they literally need to quit their job, sell the business.
Wow.
Like let go of the thing that's killing you.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying.
Cut out the tumor.
Yeah, exactly. That is pretty terrifying because again, you're building things, you're scaling things, whatever. Some of the best seasons of my life were stepping away and letting go and moving on. All the way to other practices of like, those are extreme situations. What does it look like on an annual basis to get away and to like actually take inventory on your life, and how are we doing? How am I doing? My wife and I do that once a year. She goes away for 2 days, gets an Airbnb, usually local, and then I do it as well. And the intent of those 2 days is just to take inventory of our life, and to literally, I have a exercise we go through and just let come out what comes out over 2 days, where you give your brain
You're
time
by
to-
yourself.
By
Yeah,
yourself.
by yourself. just
Okay.
rest and reflect. Yeah, we don't do it together. We do have a thing where we do together,
Okay.
but she needs that time to go, like, how are we doing? And not have my influence.
Yeah.
We're doing pretty good, babe.
Yeah.
Just write that down. We're
That's
doing
right.
pretty good.
That's right.
We we have a funny story about that. They actually did a marriage conference, and this couple in particular will rate like, wow, on a scale of how are we doing? And I think it's 1 to 10.
I think so.
And one day she rated them at a negative 300, and I don't know. It was pretty hilarious.
It was
number.
a big
It
negative.
was a big negative.
There were
he's
some
like,
deep things going on.
What?
Yeah.
He had no clue.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I thought we were great. Are we an 8?
I have guys take my assessment on how they're doing. And it's funny because I say, you should make your wife take this assessment. And then ask your kid to take it. Ask one of your kids to take this assessment on you.
So for sex.
And it's interesting because the scores are often different. Because we lie to ourselves because we think we can manage it all.
So that's a really good segue into this next question here. Parents who are driven, how do you model strong, healthy lifestyles, right? We have this realization, this moment of, okay, this isn't sustainable, but this is how we're wired. So we have to learn how to be healthy in the wiring. And then how do we model that for our kiddos? Is there anything that you can speak to in that?
Well, I'm in a learning stage right now because I am with 14, 10, and 8-year-old, and we're in the middle of figuring out what that looks like.
I want to navigate this a little differently on that piece, because I want to hear from Adam on some of maybe there's some stories of now you're getting to interact with people, right? They're coming to you for healing, if you will, for your program. You're getting to see where they're coming from and then where they go to. And then we've talked about this a lot because this is where we think there is this synergy between the Healed Hustle and LifeRaft. The Healed Hustle comes at it from this perspective of, as an entrepreneur, I have unregulated ambition and I'm going to hit a wall. On the other side is often spouse or family who's saying, we're losing connection. There's an increasing drift. And so we're coming at it from the family side with LifeRaft. You're coming at it from the entrepreneur side with the Healed Hustle. So when you walk with them and they move from unregulated ambition into a high degree of intentionality and community, and now they have a Healed Hustle. We believe that all of the sudden they're also now going to want to move over here and start having a lot more interaction with family. They're going to say, hey, my family probably has been neglected. Maybe there's some pain there. Maybe like there's these two sides, I guess, are moving together. So I don't know if that's a long-winded question, but what are some stories you're seeing, if you can, of people walking through this journey? And then how does that change their perspective toward their family?
One of the common things that I hear a lot is like really practically, it's interesting within the family dynamic. A lot of times guys will say, I'm just transferring my like traits of ambition to my kids.
Yes.
The most common place you see that is in sports in the United States today. And then there's a little bit of a tangent, I'll come back, but it's interesting how much we're making sports just a new form of achievement. And we're teaching kids, like, you can't have activity in your life unless you're achieving, unless you're successful. And that gets modeled in very practical ways, unintentional. And so I'm a very competitive person. I've been my whole life and played soccer and want my kids to play different sports. And for years I would get in the truck and talk to my kid, and I hear this echoed in a lot of the families that I work with is like, yeah, we get in the car and we're like, how could that go better?
Oh yeah.
You know, like, what did you learn? We
It's a business meeting.
It's a business meeting now.
Let's review this. Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, this is going to, in this process, like this is just modeling what it means to achieve. There's an aspect of that feels very like right.
Yes.
Yes.
You're
I'm just
teaching.
helping
That's
you
your
improve.
job.
That's not
My job is to help you get better. Yeah.
I about 5 years ago, I made a commitment, and then this comes from some other guidance and mentors in my life too that have said, what would it feel like to not make any of those conversations about achievement with your kids, and only about, did you have fun? Did you enjoy that?
I love it.
And if you didn't, there's other things we can do. That starts to feel like quitting. It starts to feel like, it starts to rub all these things that us as like grit, resilience, all that, like rub
Growth mindset.
Yeah.
growth
Growth
mindset. You gotta
Can't quit.
have what it takes.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because, and then I'll ask, so I'll ask people about, we have a framework called the recharge routines, which are really just about, so if you are working all these hours exhaustively, tired, and the way that I historically would fix all of that is just to numb. So you just go numb out. What is the alternative? What's the healthy alternative to not numbing out? Well, it's these, what I call recharge routines, which are intended to actually recharge my capacity. That's how I can then go give more. So if it's like a battery, right? And it's got to be recharged. But it's funny because we start to talk about, what does that look like for your family? And it's like, well, I listen to these podcasts, and it's like, well, what podcast do you listen to? Tell me about an example. And it's like,
Business.
the list I did is business, 10x this. It's like, that's not recharge.
Yep.
Or for your family, well, we're in these, I'm at every sport that my kid is involved in. Well, how many sports is your kid involved in? Tell me about the pace of like your family life and dynamic. Again, I'm not a counselor. I'm just walking through, like, we just translate this ambition and we move it into our family model and our family system. And so you realize, like, we're on a plane every week flying for competitive sports, or we're driving here. All our vacations are centered around a tournament. And it's like, what does it look like to introduce your kids to the idea of being bored? That requires you being bored. That requires you not having something on the agenda to go do. It's a little bit of a tangent, but it starts to, like, it forces us to wrestle with, like, what does it look like to introduce our kids and our family dynamic to the idea of connection and intimacy that isn't through the lens of achievement, whether that's the podcast I'm listening to, or a lot of guys are like, oh, I run every week with my wife or whatever. And what are you guys training for? It's like a marathon, it's like, that's not recharge. That's achievement. It's not bad. Go do that. It's just not recharge. So recharge is about things that bring delight without effort. So how do I experience delight without effort? And for the Enneagram 3, it's like, no, I only get delight out of effort. So for me, it was like, I have this practice I started doing, where I have a nature preserve near my house, and my goal is to touch the grass every day. If I can touch the grass every morning, it reminds me I'm not in charge. I look up at the mountains, see the sun. This is not about me. It like keeps me in my position. And when I don't do that, Amber will ask me, like, have you touched the grass? Like, she knows, because I need to go out and touch the grass, because that's the rhythm that reminds me I'm not in charge. I'm not, like, and it has nothing to do with achievement. This is not about me achieving something. I'm just going out and being present in, for me in nature. So,
well, that can be a new goal, right? How many days in a row have you touched the grass?
Yeah, how many days? Yeah,
everything can become.
Dude, that's so good. I started habit tracking that.
Yes,
and then it's like, this is not the point, because now I'm bummed I didn't meet my 7 days. And yes, anyways, it's amazing how our brains will.
Oh yeah, I think there. Have you ever heard the expression "fire together, wire together"?
No.
Yeah. So those neural pathways that our brain builds, right? They're so powerful. We get used to something, we repeat, and then our brains just wire that in.
Mm,
So that becomes hardwired.
yes. The
So
ruts.
yeah. So we're talking about, and it's funny as you were talking about, well, I'm just transferring how I run my business to how I run my family. I've fired and I've wired so much here,
Yeah.
right? That I don't know how to do anything else any other way. So I'm just going to do it at home. Right. And then I'm going to teach everybody else how to do that.
Yeah.
And you're suggesting we turn it around, we force rest, and then we fire and wire differently, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
This is Sacred Rest. This is really good. This was written by Sandra Dalton Smith. She's a medical doctor. But, I'm just thinking, it says many of us run from rest.
Yeah.
Rest looks like waiting. It feels like a lack of progress. And I think that's kind of what we're saying here, right? For these personalities,
It can be really hard to sit on a beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, if I sit here, I better read a business book.
Yeah.
And this is saying a well-rested life requires a delicate balance between pruning and growth. Some things have to be cut away to make room for what's pleasant, but it ensures that the activities, relationships, and the situations that deplete you will not continue to be depleting.
That's so good. And that's in the step of stopping with intention, is taking that inventory on all the things and inputs in your life, and like literally just asking, like, what is serving us and what is killing us. And it's amazing how many things aren't serving us, but they're just still a part of our life because the way it's always been, or it's what's required to.
And it's what gets recognition. And it's what the world tells us is good. And I will just for the sake of being honest and humble, I'm sitting here going, yep, how many books have I read because they were fun? Or am I just reading because it's on the list of, I've got to read this? I was supposed to read the book on EOS, and I was supposed to read Traction, and I'm supposed to read how many podcasts? I'm mowing the lawn.
We can listen to the fun books while we're driving.
Right, exactly. We'll do that.
Yes.
So funny. But I just I'm sitting here going, oh, convicted of that. And I don't view it as a guilt thing. I view it as, oh, that's so good. I'm going to listen to that because I need to, that's a red alert.
Yeah. And I think it's the intentionality. It's like, it almost kind of doesn't require intentionality to read the business book. That's just natural. It's like the intentionality is like, I'm going to do something that doesn't, it's not about growth. It's not about, it's just about rest, delight. Because what happens is, like, you made a comment earlier, Ryan, about like when I'm in my circle with my friends or whatever, and then everything is just about the business. That is actually easy. It's
so easy
because it's like, it's almost a version of small talk. It's like
fired and wired.
Yeah, that's just what comes out. But like to actually, because to slow down and to actually have the thoughts that are really going on in my head require me to actually be honest, vulnerable. And now it's like, dude, I can't. That's hard. It requires intention.
Every time I go there, I get teary. Well, that's we're not doing that tonight. We're just gonna have fun. So let's talk about how's your business doing.
Yeah. And then let's just go get busy, because busy will allow me, and that's why we measure pace. We actually do inventory on your pace of life, because busyness is just a form of numbing. Like, we actually get addicted to busy.
Well, it's maybe again in this book we've referenced, Strength to Strength. I mean, he references it's one of the most insidious addictions. Is this idea of workaholism? I mean, it's real, and so I think what you're saying is busyness is.
It's different
can be
from
numbing out.
Because productive work is good. That is feeding your soul.
Yeah.
Again, blessing your life, blessing others, because that's how you're wired, and that's a gift, right? That's good. We're not saying that. Go sit on your couch, eat potato chips.
No.
Yeah.
That's not what we're saying.
No.
We're saying that when that becomes the thing, and it is driving you crazy and your family crazy, that's what we're saying.
And none of this is like something you graduate from. So like one of the things I realized in my healing journey over the last, really what started about 7 years ago, and walking through the inventory and the pausing and the naming the lies and then the my circles of connection and my recharge routines, how
Yeah.
my new vision for my life and what is success. I remember like walking through all this. I met with a counselor, my counselor, walked through a lot of my journey.
Mhm.
And I said, why am I still struggling? Like all these years later, like I'm not who I used to be.
Right.
I'm not where I used to be, but it's still hard. And what do you do in that situation? And I remember him looking at me, he said, Adam, you never stop using the tools. And I hated it because it was like, but I already graduated. Like I learned the tool. I took the course.
Yeah.
I'm the achiever.
Right.
I graduated. I got the
Yeah.
certificate.
I'm the one who can teach people now.
And he
Yeah.
said, you just never stop using the tools. So back to our conversation of the difference between successful people
Mhm.
that sustain and not
Mhm.
is you just keep being intentional. It's just this continual repeated pattern of now I don't have to take inventory on my massive mess of the life I've created.
Yeah.
Now I take inventory on how's our pace this year?
Did I
How-
touch the grass?
Did I touch the grass? I'm taking inventory on these things that I know will
I like it.
predict
Yeah.
my sustainability. And my neighbor is 82, just celebrated his 82nd birthday, neatest guy. And there a couple months ago, he was on his way somewhere and asked where he's going. He said, I'm headed to my AA meeting. And I said, oh, AA at 82, huh? And he looked at me and said, Adam, you never stop using the tools. And I was like,
Yay!
there it is. Here's this 82. He's
82.
been sober for 50 years.
50 years.
And he said, I never stop using the tools. And it was intentionality. His intentionality about me being sober for 50 years. And he has a heart now for helping the young person. And so
It's beautiful.
he wants to go help the 30-year-old who's walking in going,
Yeah.
am I the only one?
So maybe that's how we help our kiddos. Maybe that's like we never stop using the tools.
You never stop using the tools. You
And if we
teach
teach them how to use
Yes.
the tools, and then we're willing to mentor someone else. And I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect, but I'm using the tools.
Yeah.
Could I show you how to use the tools?
Yeah.
Could I use the tools with you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like that. It's
Yeah.
really good.
One of the things I've been talking about here, both of you, is rest.
Mhm.
And I just love this from another book. It says we too often look at rest as this thing that is the reward we get when the work is done, but the work is never done.
Wow.
Right.
Well, that's the J curve.
That's the
That's right. The work is never done.
Never
So
done.
when can I rest? So the problem then is you are always working from a place of exhaustion.
Man,
And so we have to change that dynamic somehow. And I think you're walking through a process, and we're trying to do the same of saying, okay, we need to rest and then work out of a place of rest
yeah.
and experience joy out of a place of rest from the fruit of that work that we
Mm.
But you can't do that until your identity isn't tied to the success or find in
That's
the
good.
business or the money or the bank account or the
Right.
title.
yes.
You cannot do that. It is impossible. And until you heal that, like that's the journey we're all on, is like now I'm resting in an identity that's beyond me.
So how do you get people to, as you're walking with them,
Yeah.
to understand that, one, my identity is somehow wrapped up in something it shouldn't be,
Yeah.
and then change? Because as you said, you're not a counselor. So we might think that that's the work of a counselor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm probably just introducing you to like ideas that you're going to need like deeper help with. But, so much of it just starts with the inventory and the auditing and like
Yeah.
being honest about where I'm at. I call it the ambition collapse, but the ambition collapse really starts with, no language for sustainability, but maybe your mission is small. So maybe you're a new entrepreneur, you're just getting started,
Mhm.
you're building something new. Maybe you're young, but the ambition is small, the mission is small. And so the sustainability, you don't really have any language for. But what happens is then the mission grows. And that was the case, 0 to 2,000 in 2 years. Series A, $6 million, scale the team. Like you start to grow, you get influence, authority, power, whatever you're after.
Mhm. Mhm.
We think our
It
ambition.
grows because the same level of success wouldn't give the dopamine hit.
Exactly.
Right? So it has to be bigger.
It has to be bigger.
Right? Yeah.
And again, our ambition and wiring is driving success. The thing is that we believe our mindset, our toxic mindset, is that my broken ambition will stay small. So my need to prove that I'm enough will stay small, even though the company is growing big. The reality is that thing is amplified.
Okay.
So now my ambition and my core need to prove that I'm enough is just now 10x. So be very careful about how successful you want to get with a broken ambition, because then it creates the ambition trap. And the ambition trap is basically anybody, like take Lance Armstrong, the pinnacle of his career, the best to ever do it. Can't tell anybody he's honest, has his first interview post fall and says, I've never been more free. It's out. Like he lost everything, it collapsed, but he talked about how like it's finally out, because for years it wasn't. For years it was hidden. The success ramps up. You're at the top of your thing and your ambition is driving this. It's not decreasing. Your need to prove that you're enough is not low. It is maxed out. And if you're not honest and open, that's what creates in the end, the collapse for a lot of us, where we end up losing what matters most. Lose my family, lose my marriage, lose the job, lose the company,
Lose your soul.
lose your soul. Yeah.
Can you talk about the hustle meter? Is this a good
Yeah.
part? Yeah.
So the hustle meter was my attempt to ask myself, how can I not do this on a 7-year cycle? Where it's like, okay, we are toxic and broken and all this stuff. How do we actually do this in, I wanted something repeatable and approachable. So how do we make regulated ambition? How do we make healed hustle repeated and approachable? And so what I basically did was created 7 levels from healthy to escape. And so hustle, it's an acronym. Hustle is healthy, and E is escape. And escape is at the bottom. And we're all moving through this meter all the time. We're moving up and down it. And I wanted a tool that I could use weekly. Like every 7 days or 5 days, I could call Ryan and go like, hey, here's where I'm at on the hustle meter. And it just goes through a series of questions of where you at, from healthy to, the U is, I'm actually forgetting forgetting priorities. And then the S is stressed, and the T is a turning point. And then the L is like I'm losing, and then the E is escape. And so what happens is we go from like, I'm just stressed. I'm super stressed right now. I'm moving towards like a turning point where I'm actually going to start like losing my intentionality, losing my sustainability. And then eventually when we get to escape, we're just hunting for a way out. Either for an addict, that's going to be numbing and relapse. For some, in a lot of traumatic situations, it's, I want out of this marriage. I want out of this life. I wish I could quit my job and just leave, I'm leaving it all. So we're just hunting for escape. So the question kind of weekly is like, how do you start to move back towards healthy? What is healthy? How do you define healthy? Well, healthy is am I taking inventory? Am I learning to pause with purpose? Am I naming the lies going on in my life? Am I prioritizing connection with my intimate circle? Do I have my recharge routines? And am I making progress towards the life vision I wrote for myself? So I have an exercise where you redefine success, and kind of how EOS does it, where you have the rocks and here's the things I'm actually going after, success in my life, and here's the things that will get me there. And in taking inventory on the progress you're making. And so it was like taking this big, long kind of 8-step healed hustle and going, how do you do this every week? Like just in a routine and a rhythm and a practice. So I created the hustle meter, which is just, it's actually a worksheet you can do. We'll build an app for it, but you can just take inventory on your life in a weekly way. And eventually it just becomes language, and you have 2 or 3 people that really know your story and who you are and what drives you. And you can just be honest, like, here's where I'm at on the hustle meter. And so then the question for the accountability person is like, So what's your commitment to move back towards healthy?
Mm-hmm. So that's good because we were just talking about the whole rest thing, and then the hustle meter. So how do you stay, if you're a driven person and you are used to putting out a lot of energy, you have ambition, we said it's not bad, it just needs, well, I said the governor on the engine, right?
Yeah.
Because then we don't rev it so high that the engine just explodes. No, we're letting the engine keep running, just governing it. How do you stay creative when you add more rest than most entrepreneurs think is possible? You know, that pushback of like, I can't step away. I can't take that break. Have you run into that?
Yeah. So
I guess yourself and others.
You're resting too much kind of thing. Is that
Yeah. Like, how am I going to do all this? How am I going to be creative? How am I going to be ambitious if I add rest?
Yeah.
How do I keep?
There's a book called
How do I take 2 days away, Adam?
days? Yeah.
I will have 400 emails in my inbox. That's impossible. And nobody else can answer those except me.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is really hard when you're in a startup.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
nobody gets paid if this doesn't work.
Yes. And you said something toward the beginning of the podcast, you know, maybe it is something really hardcore, like you have to quit your job. And for some people, they're like, I can't.
Yeah. Can't quit my job. That is a tough question I'm always answering is as I'm building the healed hustle. It doesn't, I don't know the word is, it's ironic that I have to ask myself, am I healing? Like, am I
doing this?
am I resting as I'm building, the things I'm building out?
I think it's good because it's lived experience.
The couple of thoughts that come to mind, Jake Knapp wrote a book called Make Time. They were the guys who built Gmail.
No.
And they wrote a book called Make Time. And in their book, Make Time, they talk, one of the interviewers asked them, do you guys think, because they were basically making a case for what you're saying, which is like, you've got to turn off. You have to learn the art of slowing down. And they have a framework and a case study for how slowing down will actually help you go farther. And there's evidence behind this. If you want to go far, you actually have to have these intentional rhythms that will help you go far. And they're like, yeah, but would Gmail have ever become what it became, or Google became whatever it became?
Right.
And they had a fascinating answer. He said, I actually think it would have been 10 times what it is today.
No way.
Had we gone slower? He said, I think we actually limited the impact that it has today because we went fast and we didn't stop and we're exhausted and we lost it was an interesting philosophy. I don't know if that's true in every situation.
Go ahead.
The point being that there's an idea that actually slowing down and having these rhythms, your most intentional thoughts are in the shower, out on the walk, those are some of your best ideas. But if you never give yourself the space or time for that, it doesn't happen.
Give yourself time to shower, please.
They talk about smell the shampoo.
Oh.
Smell the shampoo is a philosophy in Make Time. And I loved the theory behind it. When is the last time you actually noticed the smell? Because you were so present in your life.
I just have to wash my hair and get out of the shower.
That you smelled the shampoo. You actually noticed the smell.
Okay.
I would just add in a program that I'm part of called Strategic Coach. The whole foundation of the program begins with the entrepreneurial time system. So, which starts with free days. Okay.
Wow.
A free day is 24 hours of no reading, thinking, or talking about business.
This is hard for you.
And it's a learned skill. Yeah. The tension in the room when the coach tells you can't check email on a free day, you can't read books. Wait a second, but I like those books. Yeah. But can I check email for just 60 seconds? Yeah. The problem is what's in that email, right? And so free days are the foundation. And Dan Sullivan, who created that concept, who also wrote the books that many people are now familiar with, 10x is easier than 2x, Who Not How, The Gap and the Gain. Some great ideas coming out of that program and from Dan. But he says in his more than 30 years of working with and coaching entrepreneurs, there is a direct correlation between the amount of time they take off and the success of their business. Direct correlation. So the more time you take off,
Wow.
the greater the success.
Wow.
You know, backing up what Jason or Jake Knapp said in that book.
Yep.
But it's hard. And it's funny because he walks people through a continuum of taking free days. I mean, we are adults. We have to be taught how to take a day off. But yes, because you start with a day off away and completely scheduled. Okay. Wow. And the reason is if you have downtime, so if you just go sit at the pool, guess what? I'm getting on the phone. I'm going to read that book. So you have to have everything planned out, mapped out. We're going to go take a fishing trip. We're going to go on a hike, whatever that may be. Then you can, once you master a day away with a complete schedule of activities for that day, well, now we can move to a day at home that's completely scheduled. Okay. So we still have to have everything scheduled, but we don't have to go away now. Yeah. And then when we've mastered that, we can move to, I can go away on vacation, but I can have some unscheduled time because now I'm getting better. It's actually a process of healing from an addiction, right? And then finally, when you've mastered a free day, you can stay at home and have it unstructured or unscheduled. So it's pretty fascinating to watch a group of 60 adults in a room be told that you have to take a free day and no, you can't check email and you can't read about
twitching like they need their next morning hit.
It's but it speaks to the depth of the problem.
I heard a leader say that I really respect, just a friend, but that's been done well in his life. And he said, I just choose to let my family limit my business impact. And
that's really sweet.
And it's just it's an intentionality.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going versus the other way around. We usually I'm going to let my business limit my family engagement. And so I'm going to let my family engagement limit how much success I can have. And it's like, whew, that's like, there's not a how in there. It's just a philosophy, a mindset, a way of thinking about life and what success really is.
And it's a mindset of wisdom.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what the guy told you.
Going against,
stop, enjoy your life.
It's going against the grain.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so often wisdom is contrarian. I mean, we talk about that all the time. To be a good investor, you have to be a contrarian.
Yeah.
I think that if our philosophies are widely accepted by everyone around us, maybe we need to question that.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I think one of the things that's coming up for me as we continue to talk, and we already knew this is why we're talking, is just the commonality or the synergies between LifeRaft and Healed Hustle. So you talk about intentionality. I mean, that is in LifeRaft the thing that, I guess it's this moment of saying we're going to move from unintentional in the family to intentional. We're going to apply that same discipline to our lives.
Yeah.
So for you, it's saying we're going to be intentional. Hey, entrepreneur, we're going to be intentional.
Yeah.
We're trying to say, hey, entrepreneur, we need to, and family, we need to be intentional.
Yeah.
Mission and purpose, right?
Yeah.
What is our why? Let's maybe define and heal that why. Let's create the rhythms and patterns. I loved how you touch the grass every day and the confession, the take inventory. So you have a regular rhythm and pattern for sustaining that. This isn't we talk about this a lot in the book that we're writing. This isn't something you can do once and say, I did that. We went through, hey, Shannon, here's an education on the balance sheet. Here's where things are. Here's the will. Put it on a shelf. It's done. Nope. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
Right. Things change. Things need to be updated because all of this is about creating a life that flourishes.
That's
right.
Great.
The entrepreneur, I mean, you're trying to help them get to a place of flourishing. Yeah. We're trying to help the family get to a place of flourishing. Yeah. And those two ideas really come together. The final piece in our model is what we call life moments, celebrations.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I think when you were talking about moving from a place of, hey, son, what could you have done better in your basketball game, to did you have fun?
Yeah.
Like, that's a celebration.
It is.
We're celebrating today because you got to go have fun
Yeah.
on the basketball court, or whatever that is. And we so often miss that. We have the success in the business, the exit, we raise the funds, and now we're just on to the next challenge.
Yeah.
We're on to the next hurdle. We don't slow down. What comes up for you in all of that?
Yeah, I just keep thinking that in order for people to be successful with the LifeRaft journey, they have to take this personal healed hustle journey often,
Yeah.
right? So, and it's funny, you talked about pausing, and we talk about that in LifeRaft. We'll say permission to pause.
Yeah.
And I guess right now I would just say, hey, here's some permission to pause. Do a little inventory. Walk away with we'll have you give one little simple habit that someone could do to try this week that we could line up ambition with intention. We'll get there, but I guess what I'm saying is, let's take a minute to pause and say, okay, what is coming up for us? I know things have come up for me. I would assume things have come up for you, maybe even you, right? Because none of us here, this isn't prescriptive. None of us are saying we're counselors.
Yeah.
We have all the answers. Our lives are perfect. We are saying,
And none of us are saying we have now
no,
arrived. This is all easy for all.
I want to absolutely, let's say that again a little bit louder. We don't have the answers, but we have come into a space where we want this wellness, and then we want you to have it too. And so we're willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And invite you into a journey and so
A journey that has worked. Like
yeah,
a journey that
we're
has
seeing
bring
positive,
transformation.
we are seeing positive outcomes.
Yeah,
We are
absolutely.
seeing it.
Yeah.
Right. And it came from places of pain,
Yeah.
places of intentionality, places of doing assessments and realizing we were lacking here.
Yeah.
We have to correct this. We're out of balance. And so then we're just saying, wow, could we invite you in? And so permission to pause for anybody listening, and to say, okay, maybe I'm a little bit off here and I want this for my family, but I do recognize that I need to heal here.
Yeah.
So what would be one little thing that you could say, take this away and try this?
Yeah. I think the first little exercise of taking inventory is the Patterson Center has these 4 questions that I like, that I think is a great place to start. And it is, what is working, what is wrong, what is missing, and what is broken. And so this is just a quick little exercise you can do to start the conversation of inventory. Is look, and you're looking at your whole life. You're looking at your family, you're looking at your marriage, you're looking at your individual life. What is working? And you just make a list of what's working. What is wrong? Something that this is just wrong. This is not working. Are there anything missing? And is there anything broken? Could be right, just needs to be fixed.
Yep.
That's a great place to just start to go, how are we doing?
How am I doing?
How am I doing? And I think that all leads to the one nugget that I would say for in relationship to the healed hustle and LifeRaft and stuff is, just allow yourself, as you look at that list and the answers, to ask yourself, why am I really doing what I'm doing? Just as a thought exercise, why am I really doing what I'm doing? You can have the right what with the wrong why. So take a moment to just reflect on why you're really doing what you're doing and see what comes up. And that might be an indicator of I need to just dig into that and think through, why am I really driving this business, building this business? Why do I really want to sell it? Why do I really want to, be as successful I am, or have this title, or whatever it is? Why am I really doing what I'm doing? And then that allows the opportunity to then start doing the work of how do I reframe? What would a reframed why look like? Might be the same what,
Sure,
with a reframed why, and that'll help me be more sustainable in the long
That's
run.
fantastic. And I think I wouldn't want somebody to do this exercise and go, I I suck.
Yeah.
I'm too broken and I don't even know where to start. I think instead giving yourself grace and permission
Yeah.
to say, oh, okay, this isn't awesome. And now I realize it and recognize it and I'm calling it out. So now I can move forward. I don't have to stay here and
Yeah.
I don't have to move further back.
Yeah.
I can stop this train wreck.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think just having a moment of encouragement.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's hope. Of course there is, and we would love to partner with you in that.
Yeah. One step that changed a lot of my life over the last few years that feels really small, but feels intentional, in my naturally wired, ambitious hustle body is I changed my mornings. And one other thing I did is I moved the charger of my phone. I moved it away from my bed and moved it like at least 10 feet away. So I had to get out of my bed to get my phone, and my phone was on that thing every day. And then I just made an internal commitment. I'd love for it to say that I'm perfect at this, but I'm not. But I do try to do it more than not. Is I don't check anything business related, my email, text message. I don't even look. I can see that I have 8 unread messages. I don't check them until I touch the grass. So I go out, I do my walk, I touch the grass, I remind myself I'm not in charge. And then I can go to town on my emails and my text messages and all the things. But that little like morning hack for me has it's like helped my ambition just a little bit be throttled of like
you put a governor on the engine.
Put a governor on the engine of how I start my day. Otherwise, I will lay in bed, look at my phone and start checking email, and now I'm into work and I'm not even out of bed. And that's how you start. And most of us start and go to bed that way,
Wow.
And so it's like, what does it look like to start differently?
That's great.
These tools of modernity have created a real challenge.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you touch the grass in the winter?
Just gets astroturf.
All right. And if there's snow on the ground, you dig through it?
Yeah, with the nature preserve had these really tall, like, I don't even know what they're called, like the wheat
Some
things or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just kind of brush my hands on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any type of grass.
Yeah, anytime. Whatever your version of grass is.
It's got to be wheatgrass. That's what we want you
That's
to
right.
do. We want you to press it and drink it.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, your version.
Whatever your first.
Great. Adam, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
How can people find you online?
Yeah, thehealedhustle.com is where they can go and take an assessment and see where you're at.
Awesome.
I think it's good to say too, again, we're not mental health professionals here. And if something comes up for somebody, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be afraid to seek professional help. There's power in that.
That's the unlock. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the unlock. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Worth Beyond Wealth podcast. If you liked this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. The highest compliment you could give would be sharing this with a friend. Thank you. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or any specific security. RW Investment Management, LLC, DBA RW Investment Management is a registered investment advisor. Testimonials given by current clients are not in exchange for compensation. This document is solely for informational purposes. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where RWIM and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. Past performance is no guarantee of future returns. Investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. No advice may be rendered by RWIM unless a client service agreement is in place. RWIM is not a legal or tax advisor.